The World War II field stove that ran on dirt and ash, the soldiers' secret weapon against the cold. They said it was impossible. Fire from dirt, warmth from ash. Yet, somewhere in the frozen trenches of World War II, soldiers huddled around a small metal contraption that seemed to defy nature itself. It didn't need coal, or oil, or precious wood. Just the ground beneath their boots. The field stove that ran on dirt became one of the war's strangest and most ingenious survival tools, a hidden gem of wartime engineering that turned the impossible into daily reality, the cold that could kill faster than bullets. Before we dive into how this mysterious stove worked, you need to understand the battlefield it was born from. World War II wasn't just fought with rifles and tanks. It was fought against nature, in biting snow, endless mud, and bone-freezing nights that claimed soldiers faster than enemy fire. In Russia's brutal winter or the high-altitude European fronts, warmth was more than comfort. It was life. Fires drew attention, fuel was scarce, and soldiers had to improvise. Enter the field stove, a compact metallic miracle that looked unimpressive but performed magic in the trenches. The genius hidden in plain sight. The dirt stove, as troops nicknamed it, was not officially listed among the great weapons of WWII, yet it was a quiet revolution in survival tech. It relied on a concept that still amazes engineers today, the principle of catalytic heat and oxygen flow. Instead of relying on clean fuel, this stove turned almost any carbon-based debris, dirt, ash, scraps of organic matter, into energy. Soldiers would scoop up soil mixed with bits of charcoal, or even leftover ashes from burned-out fires, pack it into the chamber, and light a small spark. Within minutes, it roared to life. The secret wasn't sorcery. It was science. The stove used a unique airflow design. Vents at the bottom drew in oxygen while a double wall structure trapped heat efficiently. Once ignited, even low-grade material could sustain combustion thanks to the draft created by the stove's narrow chimney. The result? It burned hot, clean, and long, enough to boil water or cook rations in the middle of a snowstorm. Built for the battlefield, WWII engineers didn't just want power, they wanted portability. This stove had to fit in a backpack, survive explosions, and work in mud or snow. So it was made with rugged sheet steel, sometimes scavenged from destroyed vehicles or ration tins. When deployed, it was no bigger than a helmet, yet capable of producing sustained heat using almost nothing. The design resembled a small cylindrical canister with a lid, but it hid a carefully balanced air chamber system. The double-layer metal trapped radiant heat inside, ensuring that even minimal fuel created intense warmth. And here's what really set it apart. It didn't leave much smoke. In a war where revealing your position could mean death, that feature alone made it invaluable. It was a ghost fire, silent, efficient, invisible to the enemy. Why it mattered more than people think and want to, logistics ruled everything. Supplying armies across frozen wastelands was a nightmare. Every kilogram of coal or wood mattered. So, a device that could turn soil and ash into heat saved countless tons of transport weight. And countless lives. Soldiers could melt snow for drinking water, heat canned rations, dry their socks. It doesn't sound glamorous, but in 30 below zero, it was the difference between life and frostbite. It kept morale alive when everything else froze. There's an old saying among veterans of the Eastern Front, "A man with heat has hope." This stove gave that hope, the forgotten spark of innovation. After WWII, the design quietly faded from official records. It wasn't mass-produced or given a grand name, but remnants of these stoves were found years later in abandoned camps and supply dumps. Engineers studying them realized how far ahead they were in thermodynamic design. Its operating principle, air channeling, efficient combustion, and radiant heat retention, inspired post-war camping and military gear. The famous rocket stove, used today in survival kits and eco-camping, is a direct descendant of this wartime marvel. In many ways, this forgotten invention was the ancestor of modern clean-burn technology, proof that desperation often breeds genius. Fire from the ground. Think about that for a moment. A stove that didn't just burn dirt, but fed on it. That's how desperate and creative WWII engineers had become. They were fighting with what they had, bending physics to survive. These stoves became silent companions in foxholes and field camps. Soldiers called them ash eaters or ground burners. When the war ended, most were left behind, rusted, buried, forgotten. But their legacy lived on in designs that still inspire survivalists today. Lessons from the flame. What this small, grimy stove teaches us is simple but powerful. Innovation isn't about luxury. It's about necessity. When everything's taken from you, warmth, fuel, comfort, creativity becomes your greatest weapon. The WWII dirt stove turned scraps and soil into life-sustaining heat. It was a symbol of human resilience, of finding warmth in the coldest moments of history. And while no one built monuments to it, every soldier who huddled beside its glow knew its worth. The hidden heroes of war. In the grand narrative of WWII, we celebrate tanks, planes, and generals. But history's real power often lies in the quiet inventions, the ones that kept ordinary men alive long enough to fight another day. The field stove was one of them. It didn't roar like artillery or blaze like flamethrowers. It whispered, a small flame against an endless night, defying the cold with nothing but dirt and determination. The next time you think of WWII's great innovations, remember this forgotten flame. The dirt-fueled stove that kept the war's front lines alive when everything else froze. If you love stories like this, about the hidden tech, the forgotten tools, and the human ingenuity that changed history, don't forget to hit subscribe and share this video. More forgotten war secrets are waiting to be uncovered, right here on the Forgotten War Fronts.